I'm JD Cunegan, author of Natna and the Jill Anderson series, and today I'll settle the age-old debate between traditional publishing and self-publishing. And by settle, I mean I'll explain why I chose the path I chose and tell you the ultimate decision is up to you. Sorry, I'm nuanced like that. Seems like every time I hop on social media or some corner of the internet, I'm met with some version of the traditional publishing versus self-publishing debate. And for the purposes of this video, I'm lumping independent publishing in with self-publishing because those two don't quite go hand in hand, but they're close. I've lost track of how many people I see posting wondering which route they should take, and others on either side of the debate chiming in like they always do to state their case. Some seem downright militant about it, like whichever side they chose is the right choice, the only choice. Answers like that don't really solve anything, because it entrenches people on either side of the debate on their side and turns a legitimate question of which publishing path is best for me into an either-or question where your answer is the right answer and screw everybody else. Sound familiar? Never mind the fact that a lot of authors today are some combination of the two. I think part of it stems from the stigma that's still attached to being an indie author, a self-published author. A stigma that, while diminished, still exists. Self and independently published books are seen, writ large, as inferior. They're not as well written. They're poorly edited. They're an example of everything wrong with book publishing today. Specifically, the fact that publishing is open to everyone. Whether it's through Amazon or Draft to Digital or Smashwords, anyone can become a published author. And there are those who see that as a bad thing. Let me start by saying, unequivocally, this thinking is wrong. Self and independently published books are not inferior to traditionally published books. They're not better. They're not worse. They simply take advantage of a different publishing model. In the 5 years since I first published Bounty, most of the best books I've read have been self-published. So let's dispel the notion once and for all that self-published, independently published equals bad. Now, with that out of the way, I will say this. The decision of which publication method to pursue is up to each individual author. It's up to you. Different people have different experiences, aspirations, and expectations. And ultimately, the decision as to which path to follow is yours and yours alone. But I can offer some insight as to why I chose the self-publishing path. Mostly it boils down to something I don't have a whole lot of. Patience. I'm not a patient person. I never have been, and I probably never will be. If patience is a virtue, then I'm not a particularly virtuous person. As such, the traditional route holds little appeal to me. I don't have it in me to submit a manuscript to an agent or a publisher only to wait weeks, if not months, for a response. Which, let's face it, would probably be no. It's a lot of time wasted on What exactly? That doesn't even get into the querying process, which, if my Twitter feed is any indication, is its own special level of hell. Probably the level right below the one reserved for child molesters and people who talk at the theater. And I hope somebody got that reference. Yes, I have more responsibilities as a self-published author. I have to worry about editors and formatting and cover design and marketing. All things a traditional publisher would traditionally take care of for me. But that added responsibility also brings with it a sort of freedom. I have control over the entire process. I control the content and I control the timetable. By self-publishing, I'm able to tell the stories I want, the way I want to tell them, when I want to tell them. That freedom holds a great deal of appeal to me, particularly as I write stories that are just on the outside of what a mainstream publisher might be willing to publish. Someday I might pursue traditional publishing. There is something to be said for receiving an advance, writing my story, and letting the publisher handle all the other stuff. It is, in its own way, an enticing possibility. One I'm not going to dismiss completely out of hand simply because I've chosen the other path. For now. Besides, you'd be surprised how many authors, particularly those who are full-time, have self-published and traditionally published work. More than anything, I see self-publishing as a trade-off, and it's one I'm willing to make right now. Yes, I have to secure my own editor, and I have to format my manuscripts myself, or hire someone else to do it. Yes, I have to either hire a cover designer or find my own cover another way. Yes, I'm the one who has to blow up Goodreads and social media to tell people about my work. And if I'm being honest, promotion is the one thing I would outsource if I could afford it. I'm a writer, not a marketer. And I know I'm not the only one who struggles with that part. But I got to do all that on my own. I decide when my books come out. I decide what gets published and what doesn't. That control brings with it not only a lot of responsibility, but a fair amount of freedom. Because of this, if I publish a book, then you know damn well it's the story I wanted to tell, the way I wanted to tell it, when I wanted to tell it. Again, this isn't to say self-publishing is better than traditional publishing. It's simply a different path, one that's open to both more established writers and aspiring authors. Both methods have their advantages and their drawbacks, and it's up to each individual writer to weigh the pros and cons and make their own decision about which model to pursue. For me, for right now, self-publishing is the right way to go. But that's me. What works for me won't necessarily work for you. But I hope I've at least offered some insight as to why I chose self-publishing. In closing today's video, I want to show my support for the Muse Writing Center in Norfolk, Virginia. The Muse serves the Hampton Roads literary community, offering creative writing classes and seminars for new and experienced authors, resources for local authors, hosting readings, open mic nights, and special events around the area. The Muse also offers scholarships and tuition help, as well as outreach programs for youth, seniors, and the military. Visit the-muse.org for more information and to make a tax-deductible donation. Like what you saw today, click the like button and subscribe to this channel so you can be notified whenever there's a new video. And be sure to visit jdcuneganbooks.com to check out my work and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links are down below in the video description. Be safe and be good to each other.